Hello everyone, this is Ben from Bybit. Welcome to the first episode of the Bybit Product Talk. Sitting here with me is Bill. Hey Bill.
Hey Ben, how are you doing?
Very good. So the purpose of this show is to really, for me and Bill, sit down together and discuss the latest features or product on Bybit so that our audience and clients can understanding of why we built it and who these products are built for. Today, the topic would be the strategy alert, which has been updated to our mobile app this week. There has been a lot of questions, talks among in our community about this latest feature. And that's why I got Bill here, who is the designer and the maker of this new function, to sit here with us to do a little demo and walkthrough and explain why we built this product and who is it built for. So without further ado, Bill, why don't you first tell us why we built this strategy alert and what is it used for?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the reason that we built this feature is because crypto and Bitcoin market is a 24/7 market, and it's also very volatile. It's almost impossible to keep track of everything, like just by monitoring the screen in a manual way. So the reason that we built this feature is it's essentially an alert system that could capture all the relevant information on the exchange based on our users' customized setups, so that they won't miss any trading opportunities. So that's the goal of this feature.
Okay, and we did have a very simple, price alert where clients can set simple price target, and when the price moves there, we give them a notification. Now, so this strategy alert is upgrade to that function, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's like a one step further. So for the price notification, it's a very simple thing. But if you really wanna trade based on some information, sometimes the price is not just enough. You probably need a lot of this technical, some analysis, some moving averages, etc., for you to be able to make the decision. So that's kind of an upgrade of the older version of a pure price notification system.
Okay, and the old version, the system, the function is still there, right?
Yeah, well, with our new framework, you can definitely set the simple price alert, but you can do a lot more with it.
Okay, I mean, a lot of our audience are not familiar with this new function. Is there something similar in the market people can relate to of our, strategy alert?
Yeah, absolutely. So one typical example that people first use this feature, I compare it to the TradingView's alert system. So that TradingView is where most traders are nowadays, and we are pretty similar to their alert system.
Okay, very cool. Actually, why don't you screen share our strategy alert to the audience so that they have a better clue and a visual on exactly what we're talking about?
Yeah, sure.
With this strategy alert we just released on Bybit, how is it different than what you just mentioned, the trading view alert system? And why would any client, use it other than, any third party strategy alert or trading alert?
That's a really good question, actually. We actually thought a lot about when we firstly designed this feature is how we could potentially differentiate with all these other third-party tools. I think there are three main points that I want to highlight here. Number one is that we are able to offer some data that TradingView doesn't have. For example, in our strategy alerts tool, you will be able to use the predicted funding rates. And that's something that, as far as I know, no third-party application is actively collecting to their users. So if you use this feature, you will be able to use this data that we offer. And the second point is that our notification is faster than TradingView. And the reason for that is TradingView is a third-party data aggregator. But as an exchange, we have an like a special edge, because if you are a Bybit trader, you definitely want to know the data like on our exchange, and the exchange are the place where the data is being produced. So our source of the data is first hand, and we're gonna make the notification or the push at the very first place compared to all these other third-party tools. So we are faster.
Okay.
And
So
third,
because it's much faster, you get it directly from the exchange. You will be able to grab any market movement much faster, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
way beyond anyone else could offer you this type of information if you are trading on Bybit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and third point I wanna, it's kind of something that we have the ambition to achieve in the future. That is, we are trying to be more user friendly than TradingView, because if you actually use a TradingView's alert system, it's actually very powerful but also a little bit complicated. We are trying to simplify the workflow in our strategy alert system, so that even the most normal retail traders could be able to use it and leverage the power of data to facilitate their trading.
Very interesting. Now, you mentioned a few times about retail users and all that. So what exactly, do you anticipate the user profile, or what is it this strategy alert is built for? Who is it built for and who is it not built for?
Yeah, sure. So definitely this feature is not for this very powerful like quantitative traders. Like quant traders, they usually either they know how to code themselves, or they have the resources to hire a software developer team to actually do this coding, build their own customer alert system using our API system. But like for most of the people who don't know actually how to code, or who don't have the resources to code themselves, they could just use like a simple interface, the strategy alert. I mean, for those group of people, they definitely know something about technical analysis. They want to use the data to trade. So we just offer them like a software tool so that they don't need to do any heavy duty work.
Right. So it's really built for more sophisticated retail users who likes to use different indicators or exchange, data parameters to make trading decisions, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Very interesting. So we did a lot of talk on the general, framework and why we built it. Why don't we, really get into it and start to do a little bit demo to the guys watching the show so that they understand exactly how it works.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I guess here on the interface is our current trading strategy alert. Let me just give you one scenario. I like to trade a little bit here and there. Let's say I want to use the strategy alert to catch a trend reversal. How would you set that kind of alert so that it will tell me a trade reversal is coming up?
Yeah, sure. This is actually a very typical scenario that our strategy alert feature could help you achieve and monitor. Can you see my screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just open my phone quickly. So since this is our first example about how to use this new functionality, I'd like to give a little bit more information before we diving into this like specific scenario. So similar to the old position of our price alert system, it's currently like called strategy alerts, and there are two sections of it. One is the active alert section. That is the alerts that you activate and being like monitored by our servers. So those are the things that currently being activated. And the second part is something called archive alerts. And this part is basically something that you don't want it to be run like at this moment, but you kind of want to save it as your own work. Maybe you could use it later. So So to be able to create a strategy alert, it's quite simple. You just press this plus button, and you go to this create alerts page. So just a brief overview of how this page is constructed. We have like 3 boxes here. Number 1 is you're gonna give it a name, like how you wanna call your strategy.
I want to call it trade reversal. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Trend reversal. I mean, yeah.
Trend reversal. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, well, I actually just got a like a notification of the open interest crossing up a certain number on my phone.
Okay. Cool.
So we call it a trend reversal.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, and the middle box, the biggest box among the 3 are all the parameters you need to set up to decide a certain scenario you want to be notified. And the third box is also quite simple. It's just a content preview. Once you set up everything, you could actually view it, like what type of notification you set up with the parameters you input. So Ben, which contract do you usually trade?
BTC,
or do you want to
sure.
trade?
BTC, yeah.
Okay. And then the next parameter is kind of like a foundation of the entire thing. Like when you look at the chart, what chart interval do you usually use? Do you use like 30 minutes, 1 hour, or like a 1 day chart to trade?
4 hours. So basically, this means that the alert is watching out the 4 hours chart for me. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because when you calculate a bunch of these indicators, you want to decide. You firstly need to decide the frequency of it. So this is like if you are very, very short term, like a trader, you probably want to find some more frequent chart, like a 30 minutes one. But if you kind of like hold your position for a couple of days, you could use a 1 day chart. Actually, I get some feedback from our users. They say like right now we're offering this like 4 options, but they kind of want more. Some people they want 1 minute, 1 minute with 100 times leverage type of like.
So yeah. The phone will be popping up with notifications, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That could be expected. Okay, so once you set up this the chart interval, the candle frequency, we're moving next to something called tracking variable. So that's something that you basically want to track. So that's the main variable you want to pay attention to. So right now we offer all this price, basically price, open interest, and the predicted funding rates. But for the price, we also offer is kind of like its derivatives, which are the price moving averages and exponential moving averages. So in the case that
I'm sure there's some clients using other indicators such as Fibonacci, MACD. What's the plan on that?
For this is definitely our first version. We want to keep it really simple, just to match the product and collect the feedback. But step by step, we are definitely gonna add more technical indicators to serve more people's necessity. So we're considering this, like for example, like the RSI, the MACD, and etc. A bunch of other indicators. But we also don't want to make it like over complicated, because if you really need something very, very customized, you're gonna need to program it, not just like using like a graphical interface. So we're kind of like trying to launch the product and listen to feedback and trying to find a balance point.
Okay.
So that's the idea. So for the scenario that like the specific trend reversal you want to create, we're gonna set a tracking variable as the price. And then like moving next, there's something called a trigger. So if you look at it, like there's a bunch of actions that you could select from. In this case, we're gonna pick, for example, the touching local high. So what that means, because when you want to find this trend reversal, we all know that price never goes straight up or straight down. It goes like a Z shape. So when you touch some local high or local low, that's some important threshold to definitely monitor it, because it's just possible like certain things could happen afterwards. And then moving next, you're gonna find this trigger range. Let me do a quick explanation here. You can pick from 5, 10, and 20. And what that means is, for example, when you decide you want to watch out the 4-hour chart interval, and you pick like 5 candles that will represent 4 multiplied by 5, which are 20 hours. So during these 20 hours,
the local high,
once you
basically.
touch, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once you touch the local high. So here you can pick from these 3 numbers. Which one would you like to pick from?
I'll go with 10, so 40 hours, okay. Basically, almost 2 days, yeah?
Yeah, almost 2 days. So you're basically saying like, I'm gonna capture when the price touched the local high during the past 40 hours, like roughly 2 days, and I will be notified. And that's important for me to make a trading easier.
Exactly, okay.
And also below is something very, very interesting. And we kind of hear from like some very experienced trader. When you toggle on this advanced setting, you're gonna see this something called a pulling back, because when you touch the local high, because the price could continue going higher. It may not be a good time when it just the first time touches the high. We set it here like a pulling back. So it firstly touched the local high and being put back, and that for some
give me a confirmation, basically a confirmation of the trade reversal is about to happen. Yeah. I'll probably go with $100 here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like for traders, they could probably like interpret it very differently. Like some people view this as a great longing opportunity, but some people say, okay, once you pull back, I think
short.
the trend, you could short it. We just provide software.
Yeah. Okay.
For you to track it. So once you set up everything here, we have this alert content preview that you could view, basically telling you that during the past 40 hours when the price hit the local high and then pulling back $100, you will be notified on your phone. And then you could trade on it, or you could be alerted on it. It's really up to the traders, the idea.
Okay.
So once you set all this up, it's very simple. You just click the create button, and boom, you will see this trend reversal one just being showed under the actual alerts. So what is that under hood is our servers are basically running all the calculation and monitoring the chart and data for you. And once it gets triggers, you will be notified on your phone.
Okay, very interesting. All right, very cool. So this is one scenario, the trade reversal. What are some of the, more frequently used alerts that you heard of so far? Give us another example.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to give you actually an interesting example. That's something that I mentioned, that the data of the predicted funding rates. That is something that TradingView doesn't really collect those data, but we as an exchange, we have those data. And sometimes like you will see many traders are talking about this indicator is very important. Just to clarify here, it's not a funding rates that are being charged every 8 hours on the exchange. It's actually the predicted funding rate, which is being calculated in real time. So that's something very interesting. So let me show an example here. So you just press the plus button. So let's call this like predicted funding rates.
Oh, you can just call it the funding rate. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then like I guess you want to trade BTC USD. For this kind of frequency, it actually doesn't matter that much in this case. But it will decide like how you'll be notified. For example, like if you select 30 minutes, which means that if certain things get triggered, you will be notified at maximum of once during the 30 minutes window. If you switch to 1 day.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just put it 4 hours here so that it doesn't really trigger like too often. And then the tracking variable is quite straightforward. You just pick the predicted funding rate, and then like the trigger you can pick from crossing up, crossing down. and then like the target is a value. So usually what happens is that when this funding rate is really a good metric of the market sentiment, because the perpetual swap, the mechanism decides there is a underlying Bitcoin index. There is also a last trade price happen for our contract, and there's always gonna be a discrepancy between them, and this discrepancy represent the market sentiment or the bullish or bearish sentiment toward Bitcoin. And the funding rate is really the mechanism to kind of linkage the two price together. And every 8 hours, the funding is gonna be distributed among the long and the short.
Right.
So what that means is that when you see this predicted funding rate becomes very, very negative or very, very positive, it usually represents some oversold or overbought environment of the market. So
Right.
if you were considering about like longing Bitcoin, normal condition, I mean, it probably not usually a good entry point, or if you want to short, it's probably not a good time to short. But if you want to look at the market sentiment, I'm gonna long it when the market is too bearish.
Oversold.
I'm gonna short it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna short it when the market is kind of like when the market is too hot. So there's always gonna be this type of scenario that you can capitalize on. So and basically the predicted funding rate, when it turns from negative to positive, or the other way around, it usually gonna be an important thing for the traders to watch out. So let me just set it up here as a maybe like a 0.1%, which is a really negative rate. So if I'm considering longing it, maybe I will want myself to be notified when this type of scenario happens. And
that means the market is very much oversold. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, -0.
Yep. So when I set everything up here, it's very simple. Like you just click the print button, and boom, you will see it, like the predicted funding under this active alerts.
Okay, so now you're gonna remind me whenever the predicted funding rate, which is changing all the time, when it's crossing up -0.01%, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I just made a mistake. Actually,
yeah.
It's actually crossing down. But you are able to actually fix this stuff very simple here.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
0.1 or 0.2.
Yep.
When the market is going a little bit crazy, bearish.
Yep. And you could save it. You will see it actually updated here. So in a case that you kind of like have some other ideas, or you just don't want this alert to be activated, you could swipe left and archive it, so that it will be actually put under the archived alerts. One thing that I also want to mention about is that we give our users like a couple of templates that we pre-built for them. If you are a first-time user of this new functionality, you probably like kind of like wanna build something from somewhere, not from scratch. So we got this price alerts, which is a simple price notification, and below like this trend following, which is a description of the moving averages, their relative position, and also this market heat. Behind it is open interest and predicted funding rates data. So you can definitely leverage our pre-built templates as well for start.
Okay, it seems like there's a lot to be play around with. So currently we support MA indicators, EMA, open interest, tracking the price as well as the predicted funding rate. And of course, if there are any other indicators or parameters that you want us to include into the strategy alert, please give us more feedbacks in our Twitter or our live support, our Telegram. And Bill, you are constantly in our community, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm on both Twitter and Telegram. You could reach out to me all the time, and I'm always listening to our users' feedback.
Very good. All right. So here we go, guys. Here's a brief, demo of the strategy alert. So if you still don't have it, please update your mobile app onto the latest version 1.9, and you'll be able to play around with the strategy alert. Hopefully, with this new feature, that you don't have to be watching chart all day long, and we will be able to send you notifications whenever there is a market opportunity or big movement, so that you don't miss out any trading opportunities. So, Bill, one last question before we end the show. Currently we are in the beta version of the strategy alert. What would be the future of this product look like? Not in the next version, but the future, how this product is going to evolve into.
Yeah, sure. So the number one step is definitely to provide people these notifications. But as an exchange, our main job is to help people match their orders during the order execution part, so that they could capitalize on their technical analysis or their trading decision. So intuitively, the second step for us is gonna be doing the order execution together with this strategy alert system. So once a certain things get triggered, we'll, as an exchange, at the first place to help the users to execute the order, to capitalize on all these opportunities happening on the market.
So, such as whenever a certain parameters are triggered, you can put in a limit order or a conditional order for the client, so that they don't miss out any market opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like we're gonna support all sorts of this order system for the users. You could actually understand it as a advanced conditional order system for this entire thing. Because right now the conditional order, you have all these trigger criteria that is basically like a price. Right. Like when price hits certain level, you place limit order or market order. But the real situation could be much more complicated. So for example, when the moving averages crosses certain thing, you may want to place an order that way. So you could really, from a technical standpoint, this is another level of conditional order.
Okay. And lastly, I remember some user asked me on Twitter, would it be possible if they draw a line in our mobile app, and when the price either crossing up or crossing over the line, we would send out a signal or even place an order for them. Is there something down the road as well?
Yeah, 100%. That is something we are also like being actually in thinking, and also like doing the development work as well.
Very good. So here we go, guys. If you have any suggestions, feedbacks, leave it down below. And for sure that in the future episode, me and Bill will be here discussing more functions and more products, so that if you have any other topics you want us to discuss, please leave a comment below, or any feedbacks regarding the strategy alert, please leave them below as well. And thank you for watching the show, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.